Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Force here with some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today's game is going to be between the Coolman and CranK. This is a Protoss versus Zerg matchup here on the map Daybreak, and we're going to start off as always with some player information, beginning up here in the upper right hand spawn position with our red Zerg player, the Coolman. I wasn't able to find a ton on him, unfortunately enough, because he does not have a Wikipedia page. What I do know though is that he is a North American Grandmasters Zerg player, and is also the division captain for team SCA, which was a team founded by three friends in January of 2010, formerly known as StarCraft Alliance. I think they just changed to SCA once they picked up League of Legends. That could be incorrect, but there you go. There's some information for the Coolman. His opponent down over here in the lower left-hand spawn position is CranK. CranK is a Protoss player from South Korea, currently signed to Axiom, which is the team sponsored by Total Biscuit. CranK took first place at the IPL 5 Amateur Championship. This was on July 7th of this year. Also took third place at the Lone Star Clash 2 on November the 11th. And that is some player information. Let's go ahead and hop right into the game here between the Coolman and CranK. Starting things off, we got a couple Overlord scouts moving out here for the Coolman, and no scouting beyond that, as both players are trying to really focus on their mining. Specifically CranK here, after placing his pylon and his gateway, opting not to scout and instead go back to mining, give him that little extra edge in terms of his resource gathering early on. And still no scouting here for CranK. He's just going to chill out here. Interested to see his opening. You know, a lot of times you will see Protoss players on this map. It works really well as well. Just go for that Forge Fast expand. You know, put a pylon like right here or right here. Formulate your wall off in this area and just work off of two bases. But no, we're going to see some one base opening here from CranK. So we'll have to keep an eye as to what he is deciding to do. Gets out assimilator up and immediately saturated. Back over here, things looking pretty normal for the Coolman. He is going, actually went hatch first, opting not to go pool first. A lot of times you'll see pool first in this matchup because of the potential of an early forge from your Protoss player leading to some harass, and just even probe harass down over here can prevent and delay your hatchery from being placed down when you'd like it to go down. But I suppose the Coolman, in spotting that there was no probe scout, decided, well, let me just go hatch first then. He's got a spawning pool about 50% of the way finished. Does also have extractor coming through, and we'll be checking the back, going to grab some mining there and using this. I thought he was going to be using it for scouting though, apparently not. Instead, just grabbing some minerals and returning it back to the main hatch. I was sort of wasteful, I suppose, and then he went back straight to the extractor. I think he would have gotten maybe an extra trip if he had just stayed here, and he could have gotten two little mouthfuls of minerals, but he decided not to do that. And now this one going down to the natural, and that's actually going to serve a purpose because the hatchery is done. Two queens coming out as well as two zerglings. That is of course one egg, and here's a nexus now at the natural expansion for CranK. So he is coming out with an expansion, just opening up a little bit differently than, again, what I'm used to seeing on this map in this matchup in the Forge Fast expand, opting instead to get that fairly early stalker, and this is actually going to give him a bit of map control until we see the metabolic boost go through and finish for the Coolman. This will be some map control for CranK and potentially some harass, although since the queens are in play, I don't really know how effective that would be. But again, the map control does still stand, and he's actually going to be using this for the sole purpose of scouting right now as well, as CranK once more hasn't done any probe scouting so far this game. Couple of zerglings, are they going to be able to sneak in? I think there's a little bit of room right here. He's going straight for the gateway, and we're not going to be seeing any photon cannons up front either, because of course there is no forge in play at the moment. So two gateways out front. Zergling's going to start to do some work on that, and this is going to be a problem right now for CranK because he's got no defense right there. Forced to pull all the way back with his stalker. Now he was able to scout out this expansion, but he's got no other defense to this unless he decides to pull some workers off the line. So takes a little bit of damage there to that gateway at his frontal wall off. Zergling's now trying to pull away from the stalker. Stalker might be able to catch up and get that killing blow, decides to pull back. CranK moving now to defend here with this Stalker. Metabolic boost close to finish. We got a lot of Zerglings coming out here for the Coolman. Also two more extractors at the natural expansion, which will put him on 4 extractors off of 2 bases. So we're going to be seeing some strong 2-base play here from the Coolman. Is coming out with his layer. We may very well be seeing some early infester work from him. A metabolic boost now finishing, and here come the Zerglings, or rather, the Speedlings. In just one moment. There they are, Speedlings now in play, and let's see what he's going to do for harass here. Moves forward, trying to engage with the sentry, able to get a couple shots off before a force field gets placed down. Now these Zerglings going for the already weakened warp gate here from his early engagement from just those two Zerglings, getting that close to halfway damage. That is a little dangerous right now. That warp gate's very, very low. Now he's got a second sentry in play, which allowed him to put down another force field. This is a dangerous situation, though. Zergling's trying to push in. The units are preventing that from happening, and with the range of the 2 sentries and the Stalker, it's enough damage to make the Coolman decide, I don't want to lose any more Zerglings. We're just going to pull back for now. But again, he is still just on 2 bases, and oh buddy, here comes the Spire, Speedling Muta 2 base in a PVZ. I haven't seen this in months, maybe years, in a game that I personally have commentated. You know, you used to see so much Speedling Baneling Muta all the time, and then it just sort of stopped. We saw a lot more Roach play, a lot more Infestor play, mixing in some Speedlings, and then of course you've got the Broodlord Roach, Broodlord Speedling, Broodlord Infestor. You know, I haven't seen Muta Speedling in a very long time, so I'm actually really excited here to see what the Coolman is able to do with this. Now we do have Crank still on the 2 bases, but take a look at this pylon over here, plus this Warp Prism. He's making a push right now with some Zealots and that Warp Prism, which has a Stalker landing down, putting down some more Zealots, and here comes a very strong push. This is going to force the Coolman back right now to deal with the aggression coming from Crank at his natural expansion. Spire is close to finish, and once that comes out, we will of course see those Muta Speedlings get us around. Also, we got those Queens engaging. This Queen very low, Speedling coming to help out though. Queen's gonna be all set, at least for now, unless he gets hit with a Stalker, but there's just a lot of Zealots, and look at this beautiful defense here from the Coolman, completely overwhelming these Zealots. Excellent defense. Now the Zealots are gonna continue to chop through those Zerglings, but with those Queens and some more Zergling reinforcements, I think he's gonna be okay. Those Zealots are so durable. Look at that, they're still going to work, man. Unreal. More Zealots getting warped in here from Crank. And I wonder, are we going to be seeing those Mutas now? He does have the Vespian necessary. His minerals are pretty low, though, because he's been forced to come out with so many Zerglings to defend against this. Although just a few Mutas would help him a lot, because we are seeing so many Zealots here. Of course, at the same time, because he has switched to anti-air from Crank, and he already has some of that with these sentries here. So we've got 4 Mutas coming through. Zerglings continuing to defend. Let's take a look at the resources lost. They are about even. Worker kills, only 4 so far for Crank, so he hasn't killed a ton of workers, but he is stopping all the mining at this expansion, in addition to taking out these extractors. Now here come those Mutas, trying to move forward with these Zerglings and the Mutas, but the force field is making that a little bit difficult, and the Mutas having a hard time against those sentries. Oh, this is really, really scary right now for the Coolman. What a push from Crank is really, really disrupting the Coolman's economy, if nothing else. Look at that advantage there in terms of income right now. Now with the Muta, is able to take out the Warp Prism to stop any further warp-ins and finish off the rest of the push. Wow. Crank doing a bit of damage there. Now with resources lost, they are about even. He did kill off 8 workers. The big thing what he was able to do, though, was to stop a lot of mining. There was a ton of mining downtime here for the Coolman, and with all the time he was not actually on the line with those drones, we saw him pull back and mine from here with pretty much all the drones he had as his natural, and then after, I don't know, it was maybe a good minute even, he was finally able to return. Now we're going to see some attempted counter-aggression here with these Mutas. How many does he have in play right now? Sitting with 8 Mutas in play at the moment. Also a couple of Speedlings rallying up over here again, ready to potentially push in this position. We've got 2 sentries to defend that. Muta is going to try to move forward and do a bit of damage here. Unfortunately, though, with those Stalkers, that is going to be a little bit difficult for him to do any significant damage. And he is only sitting on 8 Mutas once more, so that's really not enough. We also have a Zealot push over here from the pylon that we saw earlier. Zealots now hitting this expansion, and even with the Muta reinforcements coming, I think he's going to get this. Going to be very close. Rest of the Mutas finally arrive. Zealots continue to chop through that hatchery. Very, very close. Queen coming to defend. There is the transfuse, and is it enough to save him? Barely. 25 hit points left here, or life, I suppose is the proper terminology. 25 life remaining on that hatchery, so very low. You know, a quick another warp in really could have taken care of that, but spotting the pylon, the Coolman able to finish that off. What an exciting game so far, guys. I'd have to say, pretty interesting back and forth between these 2 players. Again, still about the same in terms of resources lost. Now, economy-wise, the Coolman starting to get a mineral advantage now that he is on 3 bases. He obviously was still hurting from that earlier engagement, and we've got a secondary push now planned for Crank here. He's got his Blink research coming through, weapons level 2, so he's already done it. He already finished his weapons 1, and a couple more gateways also coming out. And does he plan to move out over here? At the moment, doesn't quite have the resources necessary, and he's trying to come out with a pylon over here for this push that's about to take place. Muta's gonna take care of that one. Yeah, actually just forces the cancel there. Now this pylon is going to go through. Does he still have the probe over here? That's my question. I don't think he does. It looks like he lost that probe, so it will just be this one pylon here to help reinforce this engagement. Hatchery is done. Quick shot, there you go. Takes care of that. Observer Scout also moving forward, just spotting the army here. We got some Roach transition coming out with Glau Reconstitution. We got a bunch of Mutalisk in play, and I don't know, are those Roaches going to make it out in time? He's got a few out already, 7 Roaches with a few more coming out and a few more Zerglings. Muta is getting caught by the Blink Stalkers, loses the 1. And we're going to see a continued push here from CranK. Now the Coolman trying to counterattack with those Mutas, I suppose, just realizing how ineffective they're going to be against these Stalkers. And then he says, those are a lot of Stalkers, let me pull back with my Mutas now. And we've got a very, very strong push coming out. Roaches moving down to try to assist. We also have the Pathogen Gland research coming out for those Infestors. If he can get that out in time, start to get some fungal growth, he might be able to help himself here. Oh, this isn't looking all that good. The Muta is getting shredded right now by those Stalkers. Roaches and Queens trying to move forward and do some damage. More Stalkers getting warped in. There is the GG from the Coolman. CranK takes the game, starting off with a bit of aggression, and although the Coolman was able to defend, CranK's follow-up proved to be too hard for him to take care of. What a game. Alright, my friends, thank you so much for watching this game here between CranK and the Coolman. Excellent back and forth, although it was a fairly short game, I would have to say it was a pretty entertaining one. Definitely action-packed nonetheless. Thanks again for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.